All right, lots. I have the idea. I built it. It's live. It's on the App Store. I have 0 users. What do I do? How do I get my first 100, please?
Yeah, distribution is the key thing. UGC is kind of like the best thing. What does UGC actually mean? So UGC is user generated content, and it's very different from influencer. So influencer is someone who already has an audience, and you're trying to get their audience to be your customer. UGC is basically just a playground for you to be able to test different hooks and different videos, to be able to maybe get some users, but main thing is be able to find out the best creatives and then use that for paid ads at the end of the day. What I'll do is that I'll find UGC creators. There's multiple ways. I think there's 3 main kind of like categories of ways. And number one is kind of like do it yourself, the DIY method, where you can go on TikTok itself and there's literally a hashtag called UGC creators. And then all their emails are over there, or you can DM them and just say, hey, I want to work with you. So there's that side. There's also platforms that you can work with as well. There's kind of like loads of them kind of like out there. You pay them like a monthly SaaS fee, and then you're able to then find maybe the best creators potentially. And the third way is then using an agency, which we did on our end, and they can like sort out finding the creator, do the posting, the management, the day-to-day, etc., etc. I think as you go up the chain, it's like it depends of, do you have more money than time, or do you have more time than money? And that's kind of
so. What do I do if I'm broke? Like, I don't have any money for UGC. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I would love to do that one day, but like, I got 0 users. I am broke. What would you recommend?
Yeah, I would say get your money up. So you can actually do the content yourself. You become your own UGC on that end, and hopefully you're charismatic enough to be able to do UGC. I think what you could also just kind of do is kind of go on TikTok and be able to see it. Okay, are there similar apps to what I'm building right now? And if you follow that method, there should be. And also, are there similar apps that are doing a certain type of UGC content? Can I replicate that myself? And then that's kind of like a free way for you to be able to test different hooks.
I think that is a really good method, because I think it also, by you having to do it, it also kind of builds that like knowledge of how your audience is going to react to certain hooks and things. Like it's going to be more innate. You know what I mean? It's going to be kind of like you actually have done it.
Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic. Kind of building off of that, there's a lot of like founder-led like stories or companies that have come out, and I think if you literally search up like hashtag founder on TikTok or something, you'll see a bunch of people talking about their apps. And I know like my girlfriend, she's downloaded apps that someone is just building this. They're not doing UGC. And they're just like, oh, this is day 28 of me building my whatever app, right? It works. Like these apps pop off because of that. Maybe they don't have 1 million users, but like they got the first 100 for sure. You know what I mean? So I think even that like kind of founder-led, like storytelling of like building the app, a lot of people are very receptive to that. And obviously somewhere like TikTok, authenticity sells really, really well. There's pain points probably with doing that in the UGC and getting over that first 100 user bump. Like what do you kind of see as the pain points?
Yeah, I think to mention someone actually that did exactly what you talked about, there's a guy called, I think it's Yoni or Yoni. He's on Twitter, and he created literally a focus app. I think it was called Brain Rot. And he was just on Instagram every day. It's kind of like, okay, hey, here's day 1 of me building this. And I think he did it for like maybe 6 months or a year or something. I can't remember, like wherever. He was like daily updates of what he's doing, what the feature he's releasing, and like how the day was for him, blah, blah. And like his apps are doing like extremely well.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think the pain point is like you're one person. So like the amount of output is like really little compared to when you have UGC creators. Because if you have 3 UGC creators, you can have 3 videos posted every single day. So I think there's kind of like that side of things. I think also if you're an engineer and doing UGC, normally those character types don't go well together because UGC tend to be more flamboyant out there, and engineers like tend not to be on average itself. So I think that could be hard. Also, I think just in terms of splitting your time as well. It's kind of like, okay, building out the product and also doing the UGC side of things could be like super difficult for you to do, especially like UGC. I think the founder mode thing you mentioned is like good. But like the best one that actually converts is like when you pretend to be your own customer, and you might actually have to start actually play acting itself. You might just find that uncomfortable and be like, "Look, bro, I just want to just focus on building itself." So I think those are probably some of the hard things to do.
And now, like, let's say I've been doing this, right? Like, either I'm play acting as one of my customers, I'm doing this like or very organic UGC
Mm-hmm.
growth. I'm not doing paid ads or anything. I get my first like 15 users on the app, and
Mm-hmm.
they start telling me, "Hey, you should develop this. You should make these changes." How seriously do you take their feedback when it's like the first like 15?
For me, I tend not to take feedback from. Okay, let me phrase it a nicer way. Um, I prioritize feedback from paid users compared to free users. The free users are gonna ask for the world and still not pay. And also like free users aren't actually your ICP per se, like your white hot ICP. It tends to be like if someone's actually paid, then that means they're actually your customer itself. And they should take what they say more seriously, I would say. So I think there's that side. Also, number two is like if you have 15 users, this isn't B2B, right? This is B2C. So it's kind of like I wouldn't build any more features unless like I think once you get to like 1,000 to 5,000 users, and then like of those 5,000 users, like 100 people are saying the same thing, then I would say that's a strong signal for you to be like, okay, cool. Let me like at least try to understand why they're even saying they want this feature. Like I said earlier on, I'm not a person that a customer can tell me I want to build this feature. It's kind of like, and like you said with the Nikita Beer kind of like tweet, it's kind of like you you want to actually understand what's the fundamental issue on that end, and then build a solution for the fundamental rather than because again, your customers aren't product people; they're not probably not technical. If it's a B2C app as well.
It's like Henry Ford's quote, right, where he's like, "If I asked the customer what they want, they would say a faster horse."
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
in reality, the car was obviously the much better
yeah,
option,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's 100% it. Conversely, you mentioned like, you have 1,000 users and there's like droves, like 150 people asking for a feature or whatever. Maybe you start seriously considering it. How do things change between like getting your first 100 users versus your first 1,000? And then what does that actually look like from like a feature, like data standpoint of like you're driving this ship? Like
Yeah,
what actually changes?
yeah. I think yeah. First 100 users that we've already kind of like spoken about. I think honestly, I think 100 to 1,000 is actually not a big jump. I think when you actually get to like the 10,000 mark, it's kind of like when you go to like a next sense of things. And that's where you're going to get a lot of noise, especially of people asking for like, hey, this feature there. And I think that's why it's very important now to look at the data or what people are doing within your app. From then, you're kind of like, okay, cool, let me see if I can do that feature. But then you also want to understand what does that feature get for me itself for my product, right? Because I'm not gonna build a feature because hey, it's nice itself. I like what's that quote when it's like I'm gonna leave here with something, right? So it's like I need something to be able to get from this feature itself. So it's like, is this actually gonna improve my retention? Is this gonna improve conversion rates? Do I get more data so that I can actually make this more personalized, which then ends up relating back to retention itself? So that's kind of like I think like the three gods of like mobile apps is and not necessarily feature related, but it's kind of like how do you increase installs? How do you increase conversion rate from free to paid? And how do you increase retention? And those are kind of like the three main things. And all features and things you're doing should be or have to be related to one of those key three things, unless you're basically wasting your time.
That makes a lot of sense. So now I'm going to hit you with blitz. Okay. I'm going to ask you quick questions
Mm-hmm.
and I want very, very simple answers. Okay. Test flight.
Mm-hmm.
Should I be sending test flight to random users on like that I've gotten through UGC?
The app should actually be live.
So waitlist.
I mean, yeah, you can waitlist. I don't really believe in waitlists. I think it's just like a facade thing. They can just push the app live and then just send them the actual link.
I see. So my app actually has to be built before I get users.
No, actually, it doesn't need to be built before you get users. Actually, hold on, I was trying to say, yeah, I think it needs to be built for you before you get users. I think for you to start marketing in it, it doesn't need to be built yet.
What is direct outreach?
Direct outreach when it comes to finding UGC creators is being able to go to their TikTok, find their emails, and then emailing them and be like, "Hey, I want to work with you. How much do you charge per month?" And you can just do like a post per day, or you gotta do that or DM them.
Generally, when you're like marketing an app, do you want to target communities that already exist, or are you kind of paving your own road in a way? Like, are you looking for Reddit pages or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like for me, I like the easy way in life, man. So I always look for communities where the type of audience that I want already live. Just because then if I post within that audience itself, then I can just get like my first 100 users all at once, rather than having to like individually onboard each and every person.
What's the best platform to try to get your first 100?
Whew. Um, Honestly, it depends on the app. I've done it in multiple different platforms. I think Meta used to be really good. Facebook used to be really good for Facebook. Is it communities? Itself. I think that used to be super good. I think TikTok now probably outshines it for sure for you to get your first 100 users, just because you can then just have your video have a certain hashtag, and that's basically a community, kind of like a subreddit, basically itself.
To summarize everything, UGC is really like your kind of your gold standard, your gold star for trying to get your first 100 users, whether you're paying people or you're doing it yourself or something like that. And obviously we've done like a massive deep dive on UGC, finding everything about UGC and exactly like how to leverage it. So if that is something that is going to interest you because, you know, you're trying to get your first 100 users, or maybe you're trying to get your first 10,000, you're scaling, whatever it may be, you should definitely check out the full kind of breakdown of UGC content that we have and really understand how you can leverage it for your own app. If you guys have any questions about UGC or how to get your first 100 users, feel free to leave them below and we'll be happy to get back to you.
And if you want to pay your UGC creators, let's say you have their own in-house UGC stuff that you want to do, we also offer our own products. It's completely free for you. You just basically add your creator to a campaign, and then we're able to pay out in any currency in the world except for Russia and North Korea. And maybe now Venezuela. I'm not too sure. But most countries in the world we're able to pay out to all in a click of a button completely for free.